Taking the time to carefully consider your choices and investments is essential to success. When it comes to investing, choose your battles and battlefields wisely. Take the time to research and understand the risks and rewards of each investment you make, and diversify your investments to spread the risk. Have a long-term focus and be patient with returns, and always have an exit strategy in case of losses. But beware, for the outcome of such choices is not always certain. Will you make the right choices and reap the rewards, or will you suffer the consequences of your decisions? Only time will tell. In this video, Investment Basics, Choose Your Battle and Battlefield, from the best-selling book, Why We Want You to Be Rich, 2 Men, 1 Message, by the great authors Robert Kiyosaki and US President Donald Trump. Get ready to expand your mind, learn valuable lessons, and gain a deeper understanding of the principles that drive successful individuals. You'll not only gain knowledge, but also practical guidance to apply in your own life. Unleash your full potential with a Rich Mind channel, where you'll discover valuable insights and knowledge from renowned authors and speakers from around the world. Whether you're looking to improve your professional skills, achieve success, or build wealth, this channel is dedicated to providing you with the tools and resources you need to reach your goals. Join us on our journey to success and subscribe today. Let's learn and grow together. Choose your battle and battlefield. Robert's view. In both military school and the Marine Corps, I was taught the importance of selecting the right battle and the right terrain. For instance, the troops situated on higher ground such as a hilltop often had a clear advantage over their opponents on the lower ground. The troops on the low ground were then presented with a choice: fight or retreat. It is said that the phrase is sometimes it's best to walk away and live to fight another day and choose your battles carefully originated from the idea that it is wise to be strategic in deciding when and where to fight. This same concept applies in the business world. In my book Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, the second book in the Rich Dad series, I explain why some people find success more easily than others. If you're looking to make a change in your life, this book could be the most important one for you to read. On the other hand, if you're not looking to make any changes, this book may not be the best choice for you. Let's take a look at the cash flow quadrant again. As stated earlier, E stands for employee, S stands for small business person, self-employed or specialist. B stands for big business owners such as Donald Trump. I stand for investor. More than just labels, the individuals in each of the 4 quadrants have very distinct attitudes and outlooks. Those in the employee quadrant are typically looking for a secure, stable job with benefits. Meanwhile, those in the self-employed quadrant often prefer to rely on their own skills, saying if you want something done right, do it yourself. Business owners in the business quadrant tend to focus on finding the right people to take care of the operations of their business and search for a president, CEO, or other experienced individual. A big distinguishing point between those in the self-employed quadrant and the business quadrant is the amount of employees. Forbes magazine once stated that a big business is one with more than 500 employees. Lastly, I stands for investor, who have the mindset of growing their wealth through investments. Taxes vary significantly depending on which quadrant you're in. The E quadrant has the least amount of tax benefits since there is limited protection from taxes, so an accountant is not necessary. Those in the B and I quadrants, on the other hand, have the most tax benefits. This is because governments offer tax breaks to those in the B quadrant as they provide jobs, and incentives to those in the I quadrant as they invest their money back into the economy. Special tax breaks are usually given to those who invest in real estate and oil, as these are essential industries for every country. In which quadrant can you win? As stated at the start of this chapter, it is important to choose your battle and battlefield carefully. When it comes to getting rich, choosing the quadrant that is best for you holds a similar importance. The cash flow quadrant is an important tool for deciding which quadrant you have the highest chance of succeeding in. Donald Trump and I both chose the B and I quadrants to operate in. Years ago, when I was still in high school and struggling with English, it was my rich dad who pointed out to me that I would likely not do well in school or the corporate world. He said, "You're too much of a rebel to take orders from people you don't respect. You'll most likely be more successful as an entrepreneur and investor." Although I didn't like what he said, it helped me understand where I didn't fit in. It also warned me that I had to study certain subjects, develop certain skills, and gain experiences that most of my peers wouldn't have to acquire. Most financial authors write about living below your means and saving money. When Donald and I write, we write about expanding your means, enjoying life, and investing your money. Robert Kiyosaki. Some of you may be hesitant about becoming an entrepreneur or taking risks without a steady paycheck. However, this book is more about winning than it is about being an entrepreneur or professional investor. No matter which type of investor you are or which quadrant you choose to focus on, you can still become very wealthy. For example, Thomas Edison, the founder of General Electric, was in the B quadrant, while Jack Welch, a former CEO of the same company, was in the E quadrant. Both men achieved incredible wealth from the same business, though they operated in different quadrants. The cash flow quadrant is meant to help you understand which quadrant you have the best chance of succeeding in. Although the tax laws favor the B and I quadrants, tax considerations are secondary to which quadrant you feel you have the best chance of succeeding in. Our school systems are designed to prepare people for the E and S quadrants. That's why so many people will tell you to go to school to get a job, programming for the E quadrant, or to go to school so you can learn a trade or profession. Then you'll always have something to fall back on, a mindset that is perfect for the S quadrant. My favorite books by Donald Trump are The Art of the Deal, The Art of the Comeback, and How to Get Rich, which demonstrate his approach to both the B and I quadrants. Donald and I make more money than the average school teacher or author because most school teachers work from the values of the E quadrant and most authors write from the values of the S quadrant. Financial advice from Donald and myself tends to focus on expanding your means, enjoying life, and investing your money, as opposed to living below your means and saving money. It's important to take a moment to consider which quadrant is right for you, and to be honest with yourself when making this decision. Sit quietly and listen to the answer that comes to you. It's crucial to be true to yourself. Donald had the advantage of having his father serve as an example for the B and I quadrants. My father lived in the E quadrant. It went against every one of the principles that my impoverished father, a man who valued job stability and government entitlement, had for me to declare that I would become a businessman. It felt like I was turning on my allies and becoming a traitor. My dad genuinely thought that the wealthy were rapacious and exploited the poor, and some certainly do. I did not, however, share his values. I aspired to start my own business and invest money. We had different ideals when it came to careers and money, despite the fact that I loved and respected my dad with all of my heart. When I got back from Vietnam in 1973, I had to decide which quadrant I was going to take. Due to employment security, my poor dad wished for me to remain in the Marine Corps. He suggested I find employment as a pilot with the airlines when I told him I was leaving. He suggested I return to school to earn my master's and doctorate when I informed him I no longer wanted to fly, in order for me to be hired by the government. He did not comprehend the cash flow quadrant, thus he was unaware that I was not rejecting the job. It was the quadrant, or I should say the different values of each quadrant. When my real dad, my poor dad, grasped that I had a preference for the professional and financial values of my rich dad, the B and I quadrants, the rift between us widened and our relationship became strained. My poor dad valued assurance, while my rich dad valued independence. As you all likely know, security and freedom are not synonymous. In fact, they are polar opposites. That is why those with the most security have the least freedom. They are locked up in maximum security jails. When asked, "Why is money so important to you?" I often answer, because money buys me freedom. Money buys me more choices in life. For example, when traveling, I don't like spending excessive time standing in lines at airports. By having more money, I have the choice of standing in line or renting a private jet. Today, I fly by private jet more than I fly by commercial airlines. Of course, Donald has his own private jet, which validates my point. One night, leaving Dallas, my tiny private chartered jet taxied past Donald's private jet. It was humbling to realize that my jet was almost small enough to taxi under his jet. And that is why I strongly suggest you sit quietly and decide which quadrant is best for you. Ask yourself, what are my values? Do I need job security? Am I happy with security? Are my skills being tested in this quadrant? Or do I value freedom more? Also, you may want to ask yourself what your parents' values are, as well as those of your friends. There is some truth to the saying, birds of a feather flock together. So the lesson is, if you are going to choose to be rich, remember to choose your battle and battlefield carefully. Or should I say your values and quadrants? Donald's view. Choosing your battle and battlefield. Robert's cash flow quadrant is a highly useful tool, and that's why I chose his book, Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, to feature on my list of recommended books for Amazon. If you take the time to reflect on his ideas, it will save you a lot of time in the long run. It's important to learn about yourself and your preferences before embarking on any journey, whether it be a new one or not. I understand that some people's eyes may glaze over when they see a graph or equation, as they know it requires personal investment and effort. However, this glazed look could easily turn into delight or even anticipation when you realize how much you can enhance your income and overall success. The choice is yours. When I began my career in real estate, I could have stayed within the confines of my father's business and achieved a certain degree of success, but I would have been unfulfilled. I had my own dreams and ambitions and had to take the necessary steps to make them come true. Had I not done that, I would have been able to lead a comfortable life, but it would have been devoid of excitement and purpose. I would not have been able to live my own life. Robert had to come to the realization that his own objectives did not align with those of his father, and it is something we must all do in order to discover our true calling. To live a life and then realize at the end that you have not fulfilled your destiny would be a tragedy. I have witnessed this happen before, and it is a surefire way to sabotage your own success. If you're not living your life, then who is? If you're not going to think about your life, then who will? You're here now, so give it your full attention. I often envision battles and battlefields as arenas. We all, to an extent, have the power to choose which arena we are entering and wish to be in. It's about having ambitions and aspirations for success and satisfaction. While it may be hard to transition to different circles, it is sometimes the most beneficial course of action. We can be heavily influenced by the people we associate with, and it is not always easy to break away from the group or do something unexpected. It may take a while to find the courage to widen our circle of friends, but eventually that could lead to a vibrant array of activities and people you truly enjoy. It is like authoring your own narrative and finding pleasure in viewing and engaging in it. We all have the liberty to make choices. When I meet people who live in certain ways because they like it, but which I know I wouldn't, it reminds me of a menu at a restaurant. There's something for everyone. And if there isn't, there's always another restaurant to go to. It's also a good way to keep from being judgmental, as in, to each his own. Back to the script idea. I heard someone say once that we are all in charge of writing our own movie, and that movie is our life. Imagine yourself writing scenes. What kind would you want to have? Somehow, I don't think we'd choose drudgery, boredom, or poverty. It's not only no fun to write, it's boring and depressing to watch. Give yourself a little freedom to develop into something or someone you'd actually like to be. Give yourself a little freedom to develop into something or someone you'd actually like to be. Notice I said give yourself in the above paragraph. Taking the initiative to make a change in your life starts with giving yourself permission to do so. Don't be content to remain in the same place or accept mediocrity. Take the time to read, learn, and explore, and give yourself the chance to move beyond the status quo. You have the power to make a difference, and no one else can do it for you. It all begins with believing in yourself and committing to the process of growth and self-improvement. Don't settle for the easy road. Challenge yourself to reach higher and strive for something greater. To lead an uncommon life, you must be willing to go beyond what is common. Life and business can be a struggle, but make sure you choose to fight the right battles and avoid getting drawn into fruitless conflicts. Take control of your life and write your own story. Put in the effort to make it happen, and you will find yourself living the life you want to live. That's freedom, that's power, and that's success. Your view. Review and think about the cash flow quadrant and how it applies to your own life. From which quadrant do you derive the most income today? Now envision yourself as the successful person you have dreamed of becoming. Which quadrant will you be in at the point when you reach the pinnacle of success? Compare your two answers. Are you already in the correct quadrant? If yes, then sharpen the skills you already have and get going. If not, then create a plan for how you can move to the quadrant where you see yourself as a great success. Only you can do this exercise for you. You do not need to move overnight, but you do need to start the process. With the plan in mind, what are the steps necessary for you to make the move? You can answer that. The next video, there is a difference between savers and investors.